A 2-year-old boy in Glasgow, Scotland, leaves his mother stunned when he begins obsessively talking about his real home. A white house on a beach where planes land on sand, on an island 200 miles away that he's never visited. Even more disturbing, he constantly cries, saying he misses his Bara mother. You're about to witness the most cinematic journey ever documented about reincarnation. The Cameron Macaulay case, a story that led University of Virginia researchers, a BBC team, and a desperate family on an epic expedition to Scotland's Outer Hebrides. Glasgow, Scotland, 2000. Cameron Macaulay is born to a working-class family. His mother, Norma, is a practical, skeptical woman raising her son alone. She could never imagine that her little Cameron would reveal one of the deepest mysteries of human existence. At age 2, when Cameron began to speak, something extraordinary happened. Instead of typical baby words, he started telling detailed stories about a life he never lived. "I'm from Bara," he declared with absolute conviction. "My real house is on a white beach where planes land on sand." Norma was confused. Bara? She barely knew this remote island in the Outer Hebrides, over 200 miles from Glasgow. How could her 2-year-old son know about such a distant place? But Cameron didn't stop. He described a white house overlooking the sea, with 3 bathrooms, something that greatly impressed the boy, since they only had one. He talked about his black and white dog, his brothers playing on the beach, and how he watched planes landing on sand from his bedroom window. "My father's name is Shane Robertson," Cameron said with absolute certainty. "He died because he didn't look both ways before crossing." Norma tried to explain it was imagination, but Cameron became furious. "It's not imagination, it's real. I want to go home." The boy began crying constantly, saying he missed his Bara mother, a woman with long brown hair who read Bible stories to him. Norma felt hurt. She was there, caring for him with love, but Cameron insisted his true mother was somewhere else. The situation became so disturbing that Norma sought help. Cameron's obsession with Bara was consuming his childhood. Every day he begged, "When can we go to Bara, Mommy? When will I see my house again?" Norma tried to distract him, but nothing worked. The boy was visibly suffering from not being able to return to a place he'd theoretically never been. Worried, Norma consulted Dr. Chris French, a skeptical psychologist specializing in debunking paranormal phenomena. She hoped he would explain everything as common childhood fantasy. "Children have very active imaginations," said Dr. French. "In the age of internet and television, they can absorb information from anywhere and create elaborate narrative." But something bothered Dr. French himself. Cameron's descriptions were too specific. He wasn't speaking generically about an island. He described precise detail: the exact color of the house, the texture of the sand, the sound of planes landing on the beach. Norma then consulted Karen Majors, an educational psychologist specializing in children and their fantasy lives. Karen was intrigued. "The way Cameron describes Bara is different from typical imaginary friends," observed Karen. "Children can control their fantasy, turning them on and off when they want. Cameron seems unable to turn off these memories. They control him." Karen noticed that Cameron didn't play pretend about Bara. He lived those memories as if they were real. When he spoke of the island, his eyes filled with genuine tears of longing. The situation reached a breaking point when Cameron, at age 4, had an emotional breakdown. "My Bara mother must be worried about me. She doesn't know where I am. I need to go home." That's when the story reached BBC producers, who were researching childhood reincarnation cases. They contacted someone who would change everything: Dr. Jim Tucker from the University of Virginia. Dr. Tucker was the successor to legendary Ian Stevenson in childhood reincarnation research. He had studied over 2,500 cases worldwide. When he heard Cameron's story, he recognized all the classic patterns: memories that began very early, age 2. Specific details of a distant location. Emotional suffering from separation, personality, consistent with previous life family, with no prior knowledge of the location. This could be a genuine case, Dr. Tucker told the BBC team. Let's investigate. The decision was made. They would take Cameron to Barra to verify if his memories matched reality. An epic expedition was about to begin. Dr. Jim Tucker flew from Virginia to Glasgow to meet Cameron and Norma. The BBC organized a complete film crew. For the first time in history, a reincarnation investigation would be documented in real time, from first meeting to final discoveries. When Dr. Tucker met Cameron, then 5 years old, he was impressed. The boy didn't seem to be fantasizing. He spoke of Barra with the naturalness of someone describing their hometown. "Cameron," asked Dr. Tucker, "can you tell me about your house in Barra?" The boy's eyes lit up. "It's a big white house on the beach. It has 3 bathrooms, much more than here. From my window I see planes landing on sand. My black and white dog used to run on the beach with me." Dr. Tucker was intrigued by the detail about planes. Few people know that Barra has the world's most unique airport, where commercial planes land directly on the beach during low tide. "And your Barra family?" continued Dr. Tucker. "My father Shane had black spiky hair. He died when a blue and green car hit him. My mother has long brown hair. She read Bible stories to me." Norma watched nervously. Part of her hoped Dr. Tucker would say it was all imagination. Another part feared what they might discover in Barra. "Doctor." Tucker made the proposal that would change everything. "Cameron, how about we go to Barra to see your house?" The boy exploded with joy. "Yes, I'm going home! I'm going home!" He began jumping, screaming with pure happiness. For Cameron, this wasn't a trip. It was a reunion. The journey to Barra would be epic. Flight from Glasgow to the Outer Hebrides, then a ferry trip through the tempestuous waters of the North Atlantic. When they finally reached the remote island, the first thing Cameron saw was exactly what he had described. Planes landing on the white sand beach. "Mommy, do you see? I told you planes land on sand." Cameron was radiant, running on the beach shouting, "I'm back! I'm home!" But the real test was still to come. They needed to find the White House Cameron described. The search for Cameron's dream house began. Barra is a small island, but finding a White House on the beach wouldn't be easy. There were several houses that could fit the description. The BBC team began searching methodically. Initially, they found nothing. Cameron grew increasingly anxious. "The house has to be here. I know it is." Dr. Tucker noticed something concerning. Cameron, normally talkative and animated, was becoming quiet and subdued. It was as if the memories were returning with full force, bringing conflicting emotions. Then came the call that changed everything. A local historian, Donald McLean, telephoned the hotel where they were staying. "I heard you're looking for the Robertson family. There's a Robertson family from the mainland who had a summer house here in the north of the island in the 1960s and 1970s. Everyone's heart raced. Cameron had said his family was from outside the island, exactly like a summer family. "The house is at the northern tip," continued McLean. "From there, you can see planes landing on the beach." Cameron had described exactly that view. The expedition headed north on the island. As they approached the location, Cameron became increasingly agitated. "We're close! We're close!" And then they saw it. An isolated white house on a pristine beach, with perfect view of the airport on sand. Cameron simply stopped and stared, as if hypnotized. "It's her," he whispered. "It's my house." The house had been empty for years, but the current owner allowed them to enter. Cameron entered as if guided by an invisible force. Without hesitation, he found all 3 bathrooms, exactly where he said they would be. "This was my room," said Cameron, pointing to a room with beach view. "I watched planes from there." Dr. Tucker was meticulously documenting everything. Cameron's descriptions were proving astonishingly accurate. But the biggest question remained. Who was Shane Robertson? And had he really died in a car accident? The investigation was just beginning. The search for Shane Robertson intensified. With McLean's help, the local historian, the team began researching Robertson family records. Donald McLean confirmed that a Robertson family from the Scottish mainland had indeed used that house as a summer home during the 1960s and 1970s. They came mainly in summer, explained McLean. It was a large family, with several children. Cameron listened with total attention, nodding as if everything made perfect sense. The investigation led the team back to the mainland, where they managed to locate Gillian Robertson, a family relative who had frequented the Barra house as a child. The meeting was emotional. Gillian, now an older woman, brought old family photographs from Barra. When she showed a photo of the family dog, Cameron became ecstatic. "It's him! It's my black and white dog!" The photo showed exactly the dog Cameron had described, a black and white border collie playing on Barra Beach. Gillian also confirmed details Cameron had mentioned. Yes, there was a car in the family, and we really had 3 bathrooms in the house, which was unusual for the time. But when asked about Shane Robertson, Gillian was confused. "I don't remember any Shane in the family. There was James, both father and son, but no Shane." Dr. Tucker made an intriguing discovery. In Scottish Gaelic, Sean means old. Kate. It was possible that James Robertson was called Sean or Shane as a family nickname, meaning Old James, to distinguish him from his son. As for the death by car accident, records were inconclusive. Gillian didn't remember details about family deaths, especially considering she was very young at the time. But there was something else that caught Dr. Tucker's attention. Cameron had mentioned that he fell through a hole connected to the White House and ended up in his current mother's belly. "I was in Barra, and now I'm here," Cameron explained simply, as if it were the most natural process in the world. For Cameron, the experience in Barra brought relief and closure. He had proven that his memories were real. His house existed, his family existed, even the dog existed. But paradoxically, after verifying his memories, Cameron began to feel more at peace with his current life. The transformation in Cameron after the Barra trip was surprising. In the months following their return, something profound changed in the boy. The constant tears stopped. The desperate pleas to go home ceased. Cameron finally seemed at peace. "It's as if he needed to prove to himself that Barra was real," observed Norma. "Now that he's seen it with his own eyes, he can move forward." Dr. Tucker carefully documented this transformation. "This is a common characteristic in childhood reincarnation cases," he explained. "Once memories are validated, the child can process and release these experiences." Cameron still spoke of Barra occasionally, but now with nostalgic fondness instead of desperate suffering. "I liked seeing my old house," he would say. "But now I know my real home is here with Mommy." The experience also transformed Norma. "At first, I was afraid," she admitted. "Afraid of what we might discover. Afraid that Cameron would reject me if he found his other family. But the opposite happened. After validating his Barra memories, Cameron became closer to Norma, not less. It was as if he could finally commit fully to his current life." Dr. Tucker made important scientific observations about the case. 1. Accuracy of memories. Cameron had correctly described specific details of Barra that would be impossible to know without having been there. 2. Personality. Correspondence. Gillian Robertson commented that Cameron reminded her of the family children. Outgoing, friendly, obsessed with beach play. 3. Typical pattern. The case followed the classic pattern of Stevenson's studies. Intense memories from ages 2 to 6, followed by gradual disappearance. 4. Verifiable details. The existence of the house, family, dog, and 3 bathrooms was independently confirmed. What most impressed Dr. Tucker was the emotional quality of Cameron's memories. They weren't just information. They were memories charged with real feeling, genuine longing. But there were aspects of the case that remained mysterious. Why didn't Cameron remember dying? Why were there no details about adult life? And why did the memories begin to fade after the visit? Dr. Tucker had theories, but the central mystery remained. The Cameron-Macaulay case raised profound questions about the nature of memory and consciousness. Dr. Tucker observed unique patterns that differentiated this case from other reincarnation studies. Selective memory. Cameron vividly remembered being a child in Bara, but had no memories of adult life or death. It's as if only certain experiences get imprinted on consciousness, speculated Dr. Tucker. Emotional focus. The strongest memories were linked to emotionally significant experiences: the family home, beloved dog, feeling of security and belonging. Absence of trauma. Unlike many cases involving violent deaths, Cameron reported no trauma or pain. His memories were predominantly happy and nostalgic. The way Cameron described the transition between lives was also fascinating. He spoke of falling through a hole and going to his current mother's belly. For him, it was a natural process, without frightening connotations. "I was in Bara, and now I'm here," he explained simply, as if describing a change of address. Dr. Tucker theorized that the case might represent a specific type of reincarnation, perhaps involving only aspects of childhood consciousness, not the entire adult personality. It's possible that different layers of consciousness reincarnate in different ways, he speculated. Cameron may have brought only the memories of the child he was in Bara. The international impact of the case was significant. The BBC documentary was watched by millions, making Cameron the most famous childhood reincarnation case in the Western world. Skeptics argued that Cameron could have absorbed information about Bara through television or internet, but Dr. Tucker refuted. The descriptions were too specific, including details about the house that weren't publicly available. Others suggested elaborate coincidence, that Cameron had created a fantasy that accidentally corresponded to reality. But the statistical probabilities were astronomical. For Dr. Tucker, the case represented powerful evidence that consciousness can survive bodily death and transfer to a new physical form. Cameron showed us that we are more than just our brains, concluded Dr. Tucker. His consciousness carried memories that couldn't exist if mind were merely a product of current neural activity. The boy from Glasgow had become a bridge between worlds. The legacy of the Cameron-Macaulay case transformed modern reincarnation research. The BBC documentary, The Boy Who Lived Before, became one of the most watched programs about paranormal phenomena in British television history. Cameron had inadvertently become the face of reincarnation in the Western world. For the scientific community, the case represented a milestone. For the first time, a childhood reincarnation case was documented in real time, from initial claims to final verification. There was no possibility of distorted memories or details exaggerated later. Dr. Tucker used the case as a model for future investigations. Cameron taught us the importance of documenting cases while they're happening, he explained. Real-time investigation eliminates many valid criticisms about memory distortion. The impact on Norma was transformative. "I was completely skeptical about anything paranormal," she admitted. "But Cameron taught me there are aspects of reality we don't fully understand." She became an advocate for other parents facing similar situations. If your child is talking about a previous life, don't automatically ignore it, advises Norma. Listen, document, investigate with an open mind. See, Cameron, now an adult, grew up knowing his unique story, but developed his own distinct identity. The Bara memories gradually disappeared, as is typical in childhood reincarnation cases. I vaguely remember having strange memories as a child, Cameron reflects. But now they seem like distant dreams. I'm grateful for the experience, but I'm fully Cameron now. The case also influenced popular culture. Childhood reincarnation stories became more accepted in mainstream, inspiring films, books, and TV shows. Cameron had helped destigmatize a topic previously considered exclusively esoteric. For international researchers, the case validated decades of Ian Stevenson's work and established Jim Tucker as his legitimate successor. Cameron proved that reincarnation cases aren't limited to Eastern cultures, observed a colleague. They can happen anywhere, with any family. The University of Virginia expanded its division of perceptual studies, partly based on the success and visibility of Cameron's case. But perhaps the most important impact was personal. What does the Cameron-Macaulay case teach us about the nature of human existence? For Dr. Tucker, Cameron represented compelling evidence that consciousness is not simply a product of the brain. If mind were just neural activity, how could Cameron have memories of experiences he never lived in this life? The case challenged fundamental scientific paradigms about memory, identity, and consciousness continuity. Cameron forces us to reconsider our basic understanding of what we are, reflected Dr. Tucker. For families who have lost loved ones, especially children, the case offered profound hope. The idea that consciousness can continue beyond bodily death brought comfort to thousands of people. Cameron helped me process my son's death, wrote a mother in response to the documentary. Knowing he might somehow return gives me strength to continue. But the case also raised complex questions about identity and continuity. If Cameron was the reincarnation of a child from Bara, what happened to the original personality? And what does this mean for our understanding of individuality? Dr. Tucker developed theories about consciousness as field, the idea that mind can exist independently of the physical brain, like an energy field that can transfer between bodies. Perhaps consciousness is like music, he speculated. Music isn't in the radio just tunes into it. Similarly, the brain may tune into consciousness, not create it. For skeptics, the case remains controversial. Some argue that despite verifications, there must be a normal explanation we haven't discovered yet. But for those who studied the case closely, including initially skeptical researchers, the evidence is compelling. I came to this case expecting to debunk it, admitted an investigative journalist. I left convinced I had witnessed something that challenges our current understanding of reality. Cameron also demonstrated the importance of love and family connection. His strongest memories were of happy moments, playing on the beach, being loved by his family, feeling safe and belonging. Maybe love really is stronger than death, observed Norma. Maybe the deepest connections can somehow survive. The boy from Glasgow had proven that we are all much more mysterious than we imagined. The Cameron-Macaulay case leads us to a transformative conclusion. Human consciousness may be far more vast and enduring than our current science understands. A 2-year-old boy in Glasgow carried vivid memories of a life he had never lived, of a place he had never visited, of a family he had never known. When taken 200 miles away to a remote island, he instantly recognized details that would be impossible to know through normal means. Cameron found the exact house he had described, the 3 bathrooms he mentioned, the view of planes landing on beach that so fascinated him. He recognized photographs of a dog he had played with decades before being born. Dr. Jim Tucker, after decades investigating thousands of similar cases, reached a revolutionary conclusion. Mind can exist independently of the physical brain. Cameron is living evidence that we are more than our temporary bodies. For Norma, the case completely transformed her understanding of reality. I was an absolute skeptic. Cameron taught me there are mysteries in existence that our science can't yet explain. More importantly, the case brought peace to both Cameron and his family. After verifying his memories, Cameron was able to free himself from his obsession with Bara and fully commit to his current life. It was as if he needed to confirm his experiences were real before he could move forward. The BBC documentary transformed Cameron into the most famous childhood reincarnation case in the Western world, inspiring millions to reconsider their beliefs about life, death, and consciousness continuity. For researchers, the case established new standards for reincarnation investigation, demonstrating the importance of real-time documentation and independent verification. But perhaps the deepest lesson is about the nature of love and human connection. Cameron's strongest memories were of moments of love, security, and belonging. Perhaps these intense emotional experiences are what transcend the barriers of death. How many times have you felt an inexplicable connection to a place you visited for the first time? How many times have you had the sensation of having been here before? How many times have you met someone and immediately felt like you'd known them for years? Perhaps these experiences are echoes of something deeper than we imagine. Today, Cameron lives a normal life, but his story continues inspiring researchers worldwide. His journey proved that some mysteries of human existence are more real than we ever dared imagine. The University of Virginia continues investigating similar cases, using pioneering methods developed through Cameron's case. Each new discovery adds evidence that consciousness can survive bodily death. Cameron Macaulay taught us that we are eternal beings having a temporary experience, not temporary beings seeking an eternal experience. His story reminds us that those we love may be closer than we think, perhaps just waiting for the right moment to return and continue the journey with us. Death may be just a change of address, not an end. And love may be truly eternal. If this story touched you, share it with someone special. Maybe it's exactly what that person needs to hear today. Subscribe to Circle of Lives channel for more extraordinary cases that challenge our understanding of reality. Cameron showed us that the soul's journey may be longer and more mysterious than we ever imagined. In the comments, tell us, have you ever had a déjà vu experience so strong it felt like a real memory? Have you ever visited a place for the first time and felt at home? Your story might be the next one we investigate. Until the next journey through the mysteries of human existence,